Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to do something a little different. I was actually watching Zilla Blitz and his channel and love his work, and I was amazed when he talked about his background how much we had in common. Like him, I started back in the, well, I think I started before him in the late 70s, early 80s playing war games, and at that time I found it hard to find opponents. And so what I ended up doing is when eBay came about, I put up some games and they actually sold for a pretty good price. So I sold off most of my collection except for a few. And because I just couldn't find people to play against. And I think if you look in volume 14, issue 3 or something like that of the General, on the back for opponents wanted, my name is back there looking for opponents for PanzerBlitz, I think Men at Sea, or Wood Chips Iron Man, Victory in the Pacific, and Luftwaffe was the other one I was looking for. But so I couldn't find people, so I ended up selling off everything. And then about a year and a half ago, my wife and I, we actually were vacationing someplace, and I was online at night while we were sitting in the hotel room, and I saw this guy playing, I saw PanzerBlitz come up. And I saw this guy playing PanzerBlitz on this program called Vassal, and I had no idea what that was. And so I had to check that out and see what that was. And when I found out that you could play online these games and then also play against an opponent, you know, virtual face-to-face online, I thought, oh man, I can get back into this. Now at that time I was playing World of Warcraft with my son. We played on the computer earlier, and then we played Warhammer 40K, and we got into that a lot. As a matter of fact, if you look at some of the older videos on this channel, you'll see that they are painting and 40K models. And while I enjoyed that, my real desire was in wargaming, because I like the history aspect of it and be able to see the games as far as played out on the board of actual battles that happened. Not that I'm all for war or anything, but I do find it intriguing to see how you can play that and how you can work the strategy to defeat your opponent. So I got back into wargaming kind of big time. And if you notice, a lot of my channel is box openings because I've been buying a lot of games as of late, and I set aside some money to do that. And so now I'm getting to a point where I'm learning all these games. I'm doing play testing a couple of games actually, and getting really involved in the community. So I started making this channel, and hopefully you like the channel. And if you do, please do subscribe, because you can't believe how much that helps out a channel. But today I'm going to do like Zilla Blitz did and sort of show you some of my games. Because as you can see, I don't have a wall lined with games yet. But I do have a lot of games down here in front of me, because I made a desk with a bookcase underneath so I can put all my games. And I also do woodworking, so I made a customized gaming table with a bookcase. But I will eventually have a wall full of games relatively quick at the rate I'm going, because I am, you know, buying quite a few games. But I wanted to go through like 5 of the games as to what I have and why I purchased them and what I found interesting about them. So let's do that. So the first one I'm going to show you is my all-time favorite, and that's this one right here, PanzerBlitz. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do a box opening of this real soon, so you see that up on the channel real soon. But when this game came out in the, I believe it was the 70s. It came out in 1970. If I'm not mistaken, I'm sure it has a copyright on here someplace. It's 1970. It was innovative design. It had you fire then move. You had counters that had silhouettes of the tanks on them, and you know, the movement was fun. Now it did have some drawbacks. You know, it became Panzer Bush, which basically meant that, you know, you could move out in the open, but as long as you ended your move in something that hid you, you know, your opponent couldn't fire at you. And then they sort of got rid of that, or helped that out a little bit, by incorporating opportunity fire in Panzerleader, which was the next one in this series. And people, you know, retrofit that to PanzerBlitz, so that it made it a little bit more realistic as far as the game. Because how can a giant tank drive in front of you? And that's because it goes into the forest over there, and now all of a sudden it just disappears. And people would have shot at it as it was driving by too. But I used to play this by mail. This is one of the games that I played by mail, and so it took forever. And I'm going to talk about that when I do the box opening and show you everything inside. But this is actually my game that I owned back in the 70s. And as you can see, this is a later game because it just has the box. It doesn't have the sleeve on it. And I actually have one with the sleeve that I purchased online that is actually part of, the 1970, the first sort of printing of them when they used to put sleeves on them. But then they started not putting sleeves on them to cut down cost, I believe, and everything else. But this is just a great game. You play on Vassal. It's a wonderful game to learn. It's a classic, a lot of fun. It was the first game that had maps where you could place them in any order, geomorphic maps that you can put in any position so they could fit. And it was also the first game that came with different scenarios. Some of them had scenarios in different games, but a lot of them were just sort of rules in a couple. This one had different scenarios, and it also allowed you to make your own scenarios and gave you hints and tips on how to do that. So this is really a fantastic game to have, and one of the classics and one of my favorites of all time, I gotta say. If I have a person that comes over today and they want to play PanzerBlitz, I'm all in. I'm all in. So I'll put that aside. So the next game I'm going to show you is another one of the ones that I kept, and that's Victory in the Pacific here. And this is one of the larger boxes games, and so it doesn't actually fit on the bookcase like the bookcase games do. But this is a simple game to learn, complex game to master. And there are a lot of guys out there right now. I'm actually on a tournament ladder on this. I finished the Midwest Open, and I just jumped right back in and said, well, I want to play Victory in the Pacific again. I jumped right back into a tournament playing my first game, well, my second game ever since the long dry spell that I had not playing them. Tactics have changed, ideas have changed, some of the rules changed to make it a little more competitive. But this game is worth learning. You just have a blast with it. Every game starts out where the Japanese have all the power, then the US builds up power and tries to take over, and you really never know who wins. Some games you do, but most games you never know who wins till the last play of the game, unless numerically you can't catch them on points. But it's a lot of fun, a lot of strategy, a lot of thinking, and just a lot of different ways to go in this game. I'm going to do a playthrough on this here pretty soon on the channel. And I would encourage any of you that have a chance to purchase this off of eBay or something. It's well worth getting. And you can actually play the entire game online on Vassal. There's rules everywhere to help you get through it and play the game online. And there are tons of people out there that will just love playing this game with you. So this is the second one that I kept, and these were actually the only two games that I kept from my 1980s collection. Ever since then, I've purchased everything else afterwards. So when I got back in, and I thought, okay, I want to purchase a game. One of the first games that I bought was this one right here. And Last 100 Yards. And I would have bought the first one in the series, but it's not available. And it still is not available yet. It's on the P500. So hopefully that comes out soon. GMT, if I'm looking at you. But I know it will. And I'm very fortunate. I'm actually a play tester for the newest campaign that's coming out on this, the Russian front. And this is a fantastic game. If you like Squad Leader, this is very simple, very similar, I should say, not simple, not simple at all, but very similar to that, in that you're in command of squads and platoons and individual tanks going across the landscape there. The way that Mike Denson has put this game together is just fantastic. I like just all the combat happens at the same time. The battles are determined at the end of the turn. Initiative is played for, which is extremely important. If you don't have initiative, you can only react to what you see happens there. So it's just a really fun game. And if you haven't tried out this game, don't be intimidated by it. Especially when the new P500 comes out with the first one, you can learn to play. There are a ton of people out there, all kinds of forums that will help you out with this game. It is a fun game. And if you like squad level or platoon level action with a war game, hex sheets, this is a great one to have. And there are just unlimited number of maps now available for it, and different scenarios and different missions. Really good game. An easy game to make your own missions too. So well worth it, the purchase anyway. And I'm glad I got that one. Now the next one I got, and this one's kind of a heavy one here, especially I made all kinds of holders here. And this is B-17 Leader, Flying Fortress Leader. And this one is put out by DVG Games. And this is another game that I actually watched Poindexter's whole series on this game. And he did it online. He did it on the Vassal module. And I thought this is just really a cool game. So I actually purchased this one. I'm going to do some videos on it. It's a solitaire game. It's a really, really fun solitaire game. It's really challenging. You got to make all kinds of decisions. DVG Games is really good about that. You have all kinds of decisions to make that change the outcome of the game quite a bit. And it's just really the way that this comes together and works together, I think is just fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to putting this on the table now. It would already be on the table right now, except I'm playing Storm Above the Reich right now. And so that's the solitaire game I'm playing, which is another fantastic airplane game. And I like World War II aircraft and World War I aircraft. And as a matter of fact, part of my life has been a freelance photographer. Most of my life's been a freelance photographer. But I also was a senior editor for 17 years for Model Airplane News, Backyard Flyer, and Rotodrone magazine. So I love aircraft, especially scale aircraft when I was doing that. And so any type of game that comes out that deals with aircraft, especially World War II, World War I, I'm all in. And so I'm really looking forward to getting this one on the table. This looks like it's going to be a blast. And I have a 3D printer, and one of the reasons it's so heavy, it has a lot of stuff in it. But also I made a lot of trays to hold the cards and little play mats and things like that for this on my 3D printer, which I will be going through in some future videos showing you how I store stuff. And I do have one that shows how to store stuff. If you want to check it out up here to whatever side is the left here, which would be that one actually, if I know my left or right. But this is a fantastic game and a really good group on Facebook with this game. They have a really active channel and easy to get information and help if you're stuck with any of the steps or you have questions about the game. They're always there to help you. So that's my fourth game there. And I know that's why I couldn't do what Zilla Blitz does. He does 10 because he's good at talking. I am not. I ramble on. So one of the games that I really got into right away is Salerno 43. And again, it's another GMT game. And it's made by Mark Simonich. And this guy is just a fantastic game designer, I think. That's my opinion. And I'm not alone in that opinion. When I was at the weekend at the warehouse at GMT last April, they talked a lot about how, I think they have an employee there that their only job is to keep Mark happy, just to make sure that he keeps doing what he does. And he does it fantastically. And I'm glad they're doing that. This guy is a gem in the wargaming community. But Salerno 43, the invasion in Italy, it's just a great, fun game. Even playing solitaire, it's fun. But I think I did a playthrough, an extended example on the channel. But I am actually going to play through a few games as soon as I can, weasel out time. That's the problem with buying all these games, is finding the time to play them too. And then making the videos do take a lot of time when you put them together, especially gaming videos. But this is just a fun game. I actually played an opponent up at the warehouse, played a little bit of this with somebody, and it was fun there too. We didn't get a chance to do the whole thing, but it's just a fun game. So, if you get a chance, that's a good one to pick up. And like I said, I like World War II. I like a lot of World War II, like a lot of World War I. But I'm also getting into a lot of the revolutions, and I'll show you that in my next video on games that I acquire. But these are the first 5 games that I share with you about what I'm really excited about and playing at the moment. And hopefully if you do like that, please give this a thumbs up, and I'll continue to do these and show you more and more of my collection and why I pick out those games and why I played those games in the past when I talk about a lot of the Avalon Hill older games. But I appreciate you if you stayed this long. Please do subscribe to the channel. That helps me out a lot, knowing that people are out there and looking forward to the videos. Helps you, encourage you to put together more and more videos. And hopefully you'll be seeing me again on the YouTube here and watching the channel. Other than that, take care and thanks for watching this video.